Dr. Joel Bischoff here. Welcome back to the Maker Bus. Today I thought I'd show you how we can take just a regular 2-liter bottle or clear plastic bottle, juice bottle, apple juice, whatever it would be, and make it into a nice little biome. So the word biome just means like its own little environment. You can see here what I have are some pea plants that I planted a couple of weeks ago, and I'll show you what goes into making this as well as how you could make one yourself. So first what I'm going to do is start with this bottle, and I'm going to use a knife, so you're going to need to have a parent help you out with this. I'm going to use that utility knife to slice halfway through, roughly halfway through the bottle, and I'm going to go until I've cut about 3/4 of the way around it, but I'm going to leave some of it attached so that we can open it up and it makes it like a little lid that's attached there for it. So that's going to be important because we want the biome to have its own little, like a greenhouse. It's going to kind of keep in some of the heat and warmth and the water that we put in here, so it'll almost be like self-watering. So the next step is that we're going to put some materials down in the bottom that we're going to plant with. Step number 1 is we're going to put a layer of stone in the bottom of the bottle. Step number 2 is we're going to put our soil in. Now that we have both of those layers, you might be wondering, why did we put the stones in the bottom? Well, this is not exactly like a regular potted plant at home. Normal pots for potted plants have drains at the bottom, where if you pour too much water in, the extra water will drain out the bottom. But since ours is going to be a little bit more self-contained, we have to put those stones in so that when the water goes down to the bottom, it sits in the stones instead of sitting in the soil. Kind of nasty stuff can happen when soil has water saturating through it, which means that the water is completely filling up the soil. Things like mold can happen. It can attract flies and other nasty kind of stuff. So we want to keep the water on the bottom in the stones and not up in the soil. So the next step that I'm going to do is I'm going to add just a little tiny bit of fertilizer. This is special made fertilizer for seed planting. And all that's going to do is it's going to help give the seeds, once they have germinated and they're actually starting to grow, it's going to give it something good, nutritious soil so that it can grow nice and tall. So we've shaken that around and the soil is ready. Now it's time to put our seeds in. I'm just going to use my finger and put 3 little holes in here to put our seeds down into. We don't want to put too many seeds in this tiny little container because all that we're really going to be able to do is get these seeds to germinate, which means it's going to sprout its little seeds up, its little leaves up. And we'll shake that around so that the dirt falls over the top of it again. These pea plants, the Lincoln variety of peas, are going to grow to approximately 30 inches tall. So that's, out of this container, way, way up high. And you can see that when we close the lid, that's clearly not going to fit inside of our container. So after a few days or weeks, you might actually need to scoop these out and put them into either a larger pot or outside to actually let them grow outside. So we've got our fertilizer, our seeds. Final step here for planting is to just fill this up with a little bit of water. Now again, we don't want to put too much water in this thing. We just want the soil to stay nice and wet. Because that stone down on the bottom is going to hold the water, the soil is going to act like a sponge, and the soil will just soak up the water when it actually needs it. There are 2 rules for putting more water into this. Rule number 1 is if you see water down in the stones, don't add any more water because it already has all that it needs. You don't want to flood that soil up into here and then start getting that nasty stuff. And rule number 2 is that if there's no water down there, then look for if the soil itself looks dry. If it's kind of a lighter brown color instead of the darker brown that it started out with, then it's time to add a little bit more water. After we do all that, all I'm going to do is put a little tape on the outside of it just to kind of keep it closed for a little bit. And I'm going to put a little loop at the bottom so that I can easily open it up if I need to when it's time to finally get those plants, like this example. This is soon ready to start transplanting it and putting it into a bigger pot. So that's it for us for right now. I hope you had a good time building your own biome. I hope your plants grow to be really nice and tall, and that maybe even get some peas off of them. And we'll see you on the next project. See you later.